Steak and potatoes. I know that's a meal that can sound a little bit intimidating. Cooking a steak is not the easiest task, but I guarantee you if you do that for your man, he's going to be talking about it forever. His parents are going to know, his friends, his grandparents, and you are going to be in. I have some tips on how to cook a very simple, easy, and delicious steak for anyone at any cooking level right now on D Rose Lifestyle Channel. Since the potatoes are going to take a little bit longer to cook than the steak, we are going to get them going right now in the saucepan. Please don't make fun of my saucepan. This was one that my mom gave me as my first pan set for Christmas when I was in 6th grade, when I first loved to learn how to cook. And it actually was pink at one time for breast cancer awareness. It is not pink anymore. So when I think of the classic side dish for steak, I always think of potatoes. Now, I either like a really hearty baked potato or some nice garlic and butter covered potatoes that are red. So if I was going to do a baked potato, I would go with a nice old Idaho potato. Very nice for cooking, takes about an hour in the oven, and you can put all the seasonings, toppings, whatever you want in it, and it is darn delicious. But today, we're going to go with my second favorite way to cook potatoes, which is in garlic and butter. And we're going to dice up this baby right here. This is a red potato. They come in a few different sizes, small, medium, and larger. This is more of a medium-sized red potato. I chose that because it's a little bit easier to dice when you have more potato to work with. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to wash it very thoroughly because we're not going to peel any of the skin off. This skin is so soft, you can eat it. It'll be very soft and, really tasty too. When it comes to dicing potatoes, you want to make sure that you have a potato steady on here. You don't want to roll it around because that could hurt you. You could cut your fingers. And make sure that your thickness is, about an inch. If you want them a little bit thinner to cook faster, you totally can. So you're going to start just by cutting them into those about inch slices, and they're still going to be circles. Then you can stack them up safely. And you're going to do about an inch horizontally and an inch vertically. So we're going to put 3 tablespoons of butter into this pan. The pan's on about medium heat right now. Once we see that butter is nice and melted, we're going to throw on in our potatoes. Yummy, yummy. And if one goes overboard, you just throw it in. In most cases, I would go to the pepper and the salt right now and the garlic, but you don't want to put salt on potatoes too soon because it draws out all of the water, and then they're never going to get a nice golden crispiness because they're going to be waterlogged. When you go into the grocery store, you will notice that there are a wide variety of steaks to pick from. The top 3 you're most likely going to see are New York strip, ribeye, and also chuck. Those are ones that are in about any big grocery store. Now, chuck is the lowest grade steak. That's something where if you're going to make like fajitas, you can marinate that overnight and it's going to taste really good. But it takes a little bit more work, a little more care. There's not as much fat in it, so it's harder to cook just on its own. What I prefer is a nice New York strip steak or a ribeye. Ribeye is a little bit more expensive than a New York strip steak, but it's darn delicious. So today, I went middle of the ground because I wanted to show you how to cook, a pretty nice steak. And the thickness I went with was 1.5 inches. The reason why you want something around this range is because you want to make sure that you get that nice crust on the outside without fully cooking the inside to the point where it becomes kind of tough and dry. So if you get that 1 to 1.5 inches, you are going to be golden on cooking this steak. So the next thing we're going to move on to is seasonings. Now, here is what you want for seasonings to start. A little bit of salt, or really a lot of bit of salt, and then some pepper. Salt is going to give it that nice crust, and the pepper is going to just be that little kick of heat that you want with your steak. So with the salt, we're going to measure down our palm. I know that looks like a lot, but that's only for one part of the steak, one front of the steak. We're going to flip these babies over, and then you're going to have to put this much salt on the back as well. So the temperature of these steaks is room temperature. You're going to want to make sure you take them out of the refrigerator about a half an hour before you cook them. If they're in the freezer, let them thaw for 4 to 6 hours, sometimes 8 hours, depending on the temperature of your home. So take them out, get them to room temperature, and then pat them dry of all the water that's on them. These ones weren't too wet, so I didn't do that. But if you have wetter steaks, make sure that you do that. So when it comes to steaks, there is a wide scale of how you can cook it. There is down here rare, all the way to well done. Well done, that is a very cooked steak. It is brown all the way through. Too cooked for my liking. It can get a little bit tough and not juicy like I like my steaks. I like my steaks down here. This is where the cow is still mooing. It is so red and delicious. But, you know, that grosses a few people out because it's too red, not cooked enough. My husband's more around here, the medium rare range, which is very common. That's what you're probably going to get at a restaurant. It's just a little bit of a brown crust around the outside, but it's still red on the inside. Very delicious. And then medium, oh, that's a little bit more cooked, but you're still going to get that nice red on the inside. Very juicy, very flavorful, and pretty darn good. Well, now that we know the basics, let's get started. Now we're going to get the cast iron ready. My cast iron is so big, I turned on both burners to about medium heat to medium high. And here's the difference when you cook between a cast iron or a regular skillet like we have our potatoes cooking in. There are 3 huge benefits to cooking with a cast iron. The first one is this can go straight into the oven. This cannot. With a non-stick skillet, there's too much plastic involved. If you put that in the oven, you're going to cook plastic right into your food, and you might even melt parts of your skillet. So don't do that. With a cast iron, you can make your steaks go right in the oven. Let's say you want them to just stay warm for a little bit. Turn that oven to about 300, 250. They're going to stay warm until your date gets here. Second big thing with a cast iron is it creates a seasoning. When you cook meat in a cast iron skillet, there is actually like a little bit of a coating that goes on it. Some people never wash their cast iron skillet. I do, because I think it's a little gross not to, but you don't want to use too much soap with it because you might have a soapy flavor just because it has all those grooves and crevices that the soap can get caught in. The third big thing, which is really good for steaks, is that it keeps temperature very well, much more even than with a non-stick skillet. Now we're going to get the butter into the pan. As you can see, there's a little bit of steam, a little bit of smoke rising. That's what you want in your cast iron. We're going to throw this butter boys down on in there. That's about 2 tablespoons, which is what you'll probably need for 2 steaks. We'll get that butter all around. And I'm going to just lower the heat to a medium-low because this is a hot pan. Now let's get our steaks on. Now we're going to flip these steaks about every 2 minutes for about 10 to 16 minutes, depending on how rare you want them on the inside. So we're just going to play it by ear. If you really are cautious about how cooked your meat is, use a meat thermometer and you can get it up to the temperature that you wanted. So now we're going to add the garlic to our potatoes. There are 2 options, really 3 options you can go with. You can either go with buying the garlic clove where you have to smash it and you got to basically do all the work. That's a lot. So sometimes I'll go with the pre-peeled garlic cloves. These ones, all you got to do is chop them up real finely, mince them, if you will. But today, I'm keeping it simple. We're going with the already minced, squeeze bottle, very easy garlic. For the steak, we'll mince it ourselves. So we're going to add a little bit more butter before we add the garlic in, just because I love that garlicky sauce that the butter creates. And now we're going to add our garlic. The reason why we add the garlic almost at the end of cooking time is because you don't want to burn the garlic. When you have minced garlic that's this small, very easy to burn it. Now, our next seasonings are kind of up to your own preference, what herbs you like on your steak. Very traditional ones are rosemary, thyme, parsley. That's what you're going to see at restaurants, especially with the garlic sauce. What I'm adding today, you guessed it, it is basil. But you can add Italian seasoning, oregano, whatever you would like. I like to put it right over the steak because when I flip this baby again, that's going to just sink right in. I think this looks pretty darn good. My husband is really going to enjoy it. And if your man doesn't like it, well, you got to go get yourself a new man because this is top-notch stuff here. What I would add if it was summertime and I had my herbs growing in my garden is just a little bit of basil or fresh thyme, something like that, just to bring that green color out. And maybe a side of vegetables if you want to get another serving or two in for the day. But this looks pretty darn good to me. If you like this video, please press that like button right down there and also subscribe to my channel. Share this video with your single friends. They're trying to get a man. Teach them how to cook a steak. They will appreciate you for it. Also share it with your friends, neighbors, whoever. And of course, keep on watching for more from me, D Rose. I'll see you in the next one.